to our students. For that reason, I am pleased to present the next award this evening in that category to Mr. John Burley. Mr. Burley has generously and consistently given hundreds of hours each school year to support learning opportunities for students at Stedwick Elementary, Neilsville Middle, and Watkins Mill High School by encouraging and building strong positive links between school and home. The adage that says that when you need something done, ask a busy person applies to Mr. Burley. He continues to give selflessly of his time and energy wherever and whenever the opportunity arises. For example, Mr. Burley has produced the newsletter for 5 years, has been a yearbook sponsor for 4 years, managed after-school computer clubs for 8 years, given parent workshops on internet safety for children to more than 100 parents, and organized after-school online research sessions for students. Mr. Burley has used his boundless energy and dedication to create multiple communication vehicles for all parents with his signature newsletters and PTA website links. For several years, Mr. Burley has co-sponsors 2 clubs at the elementary level. His yearbook club meets prior to school 1 day a week, not only resulted in a beautiful book of memories, but its creation gave students the opportunity to learn about photography, writing, and the use of technology in producing a document. The 2 after-school computer clubs, which serve students in grade 1 through 5, employ a unique approach to technology learning, where Mr. Burley shows students the working parts of the computer as well as the internet and software. Mr. Burley has touched the lives of numerous children through his selfless work as a volunteer in our school system. Would Mr. Burley please come forward to accept this award for distinguished service to public education?
Thank you. I'm both privileged and humbled to be among such good company this evening. And I'd like to thank the Board of Education, Montgomery County Public Schools, and especially the folks in the third row over here to my right. My parents are here, my true role models. I have an amazing wife that is just the most amazing person I've ever met. My kids, who are really my true inspiration in everything that I do. Pastor Stuart Chimes, who is the person who has probably the biggest heart for kids I think that I've ever met in my entire life. And the staff at Stedwick Elementary, and here tonight is Dr. Peggy Pastor and Tiffany Bailey, Diane Adams and Gwen Dickey in the front office, really exemplify what it means to have a school with a climate and a culture that fosters volunteerism. And from the day that I stepped into Stedwick all the way up to and including today, I've realized that this is a school that really encourages creativity, encourages parent involvement, and I can honestly say that without that type of a climate and culture, I wouldn't be here today. And I'd like to share just a few illustrations that have kind of inspired me to keep going, motivated me along the way, and hopefully those will maybe be a little bit of an inspiration to some of you as well. When I started the computer club, I thought that it was all about teaching kids how to use computers. What I very quickly realized was that that was really only a piece of it. And one of the examples of that was one day when there was this little boy, and he kept raising his hand. And every time he raised his hand, he would ask questions like, where's the B key? And where's the L key? And he'd say, can you press it for me? And he wouldn't do anything on himself. He kept saying, I can't do it, I can't do it. And I stopped for a moment and I asked him, why do you keep saying you can't do it? And he said, well, my sister's the smart one in the family, and I'm the dumb one. She can do all this stuff, and I can't. So I took a few minutes and I talked with him. I said, you know, we just met. I don't know what your grades are. I don't know what you're really good at and what you might not be good at. I said, but what I know is I'm a computer guy, and I can spot a computer genius. And I said, you are a computer genius. And I looked at his sister. I kind of winked at her, and she knew exactly what I was doing. And she grinned so big she could eat a banana sideways. And so he was just beaming at this point. And I said, you know what? I said, you might be the smartest computer person in your family. And he really embraced that. And he ended up being one of the strongest students in computer club that year, the year after that, and the year after that. And one day his mom came to me and he said, he's just so motivated to come to computer club, and his confidence is just sky high. He said, what did you say to him? And we talked for a little bit, but really, I didn't teach him anything. The only thing that I did was believe in him and cause him to believe in himself. His confidence went up, and a whole lot of other things went up with it. And I realized at that point that it was only a little bit about computers, and really there were so many ways that we can touch the lives of our kids. A little while later, there was a dad that came up to me, and he said, you know, a couple years ago when we were going through that divorce, you said something to me and my son, and we held on to that for the past 2 years. He said, what you said got us through that divorce, and it got him through. He just held on to that so tight. And what was really interesting is as I thought back of all the profound things that I might have said, when he told me, I realized all the things that I thought were so profound, they didn't remember. But I believe that God has a plan for everything, and that he put me in place to say what he needed to hear, not so much what I wanted to say. And he held on to that. And sometimes when we volunteer for things, when we put programs in place, it's that glimmer of hope and it's that belief that really makes a difference. And I'll conclude with this short story. There were 6 moms, this was a long time ago, put together a rummage sale, and they raised some money, and they took that money and they rented computer time. And this was back when there wasn't even a computer on the principal's desk, and so they rented computer time. And there was one little boy, little kid named Bill, who really utilized this computer time. And he realized that there was a better way to do this. And as you fast forward years later, but still even before he completed school, he came up with a better way. He then created what later became Microsoft DOS, which later became Microsoft Windows. And there are probably some people here who are big Microsoft fans. There are probably some people who really don't like Microsoft, but I think that everybody would agree that Bill Gates and Microsoft changed the face of the world. But I would argue this, really that change didn't start with Bill Gates. That change started with 6 moms that got together, had a rummage sale, put a resource in place that then enabled everything else to happen after that. And so what I'd like to kind of challenge all of us to do, what's really been my inspiration, is that it's not so much about the programs or the activities or all the things that we do, but with whatever skill set it is that we have an opportunity to use that to touch a kid, to either establish that belief in themselves, to give them that glimmer of hope when they're going through a tough time, or in some cases we may not know it, but we may be doing something, putting a resource in place in our schools that could literally change the world. Thank you.